the duties and functions of the President shall be discharged by one of the following in the order specified. That is to say, the Vice President, or if his office is vacant, or if he is also absent or is ill, then the Prime Minister. Article 37(5) further states, where the office of President becomes vacant by reason of death, resignation, loss of electoral qualifications, or inability to perform his functions due to physical infirmity or failure to discharge the duties and functions of the office of President, then the Vice President shall be sworn in and become the President for the unexpired period of the term of 5 years, and in accordance with the conditions set out in Article 40, and after consultation with the political party to which he belongs, the President shall propose the name of the person who shall be Vice President, and such appointment shall be confirmed by the National Assembly by votes of not less than 50% of all the members of Parliament. With the death of President John Pombe Magufuli, and if the Constitution is anything to go by, Samia Hassan Suluhu will find herself assuming the office of the President. Ashley Mazuri, KTN News.
If you're just joining us here on KTN News, our wall-to-wall coverage of the passing of Tanzania's President John Pombe Magufuli continues. I am in studio with my colleague Akisa Wandera. We also have with us opposition leader and who ran for the presidency in 2020, that with the Chadema party, that is Tundu Lissu. We shall be joined later on by lawyer Jebra Kambole, joining us live from Tanzania to have a discussion on, of course, what the pulse of the East African nation is. The focus shifting to transition, as we had said earlier on, observers saying that all eyes will be on the political class in that country to try and see where they take that country next. Tanzania has been known for years as an oasis of peace and political stability on the African continent. Let's bring in Tundu Lissu. Tundu Lissu joining us from Belgium. Thank you, sir, for joining us. We are still with Akisa Wandera here. Your relationship with the late president is well known, your political rivalry as well. There are many people who describe Magufuli as a tough president who demanded for nothing but the best. What is the Magufuli legacy from your perspective?
Magufuli will go down in our history as perhaps the most violent, the most tyrannical leader in the history of Tanzania. I have heard one of your commentators saying that he was a benevolent dictator. He was one of the most malignant of dictators that this region has seen. In the 5 years that he ruled Tanzania, many people, hundreds of people were killed without any due process, without with complete impunity. Hundreds in southern Tanzania, in areas around our national parks, political opponents. I'm lucky. I survived it, but many people were not as lucky as I was. So really, to call him a benevolent dictator is to do a disservice to the country that he led so brutally. So the legacy within Tanzania is of perhaps the worst autocrat that we ever had. Regionally, the East African community has been on life support for the past 5 years, thanks to him. Our international relations, Tanzania's diplomacy with the rest of the world has been in complete disarray for the past 5 years. So really, his legacy is going to be one of 5 wasted years.
But then President Magufuli ran for that ticket, or vied for that ticket, together with Samia Hassan Suluhu, who's taking over from him. So then it will be assumed that the vision was the same, perhaps. What do we expect?
I don't think the vision is the same. I don't think the temperament of Samia Suluhu Hassan is the same as that of Magufuli. I served with both of them in the National Assembly for 5 years, from 2010 to 2015, and I was in the Justice and Constitutional Affairs Committee, which also included union matters, and Samia Suluhu Hassan was my minister in that committee, and I know her fairly well. I know her enough to suggest that temperamentally she's a completely different ball game from Magufuli. Magufuli, people talk of persons with thin political skins. Magufuli did not have any political skin. He could not tolerate any criticism. He took everything personally. And as a result, we've seen so much harm. We've seen so much pain in Tanzania because of a president who thinks that being president means you can do anything you want and get away with it. His word became the law of the land.
Right. So then are you confident that Vice President and soon-to-be President Suluhu will steer Tanzania towards the right direction? What you were talking about earlier, a new chapter, is this it?
I think she has no choice. It's not a question of, she has absolutely no choice. If she goes the way of Magufuli, she goes to a dead end. So the choice, the rational choice that is available for her is to steer, to stop from the brink and you know, chart a new course for the country. And a new course for the country is to call for, to extend a hand to those of us who were victimized by Magufuli in an effort to bring the nation together. Truth, justice, and national reconciliation within Tanzania, and friendship and comity with our neighbors. You know, Kenya, you Kenyans are our most important trading partner. Our relations with Kenya have been in disarray these past 5 years. East African community, our friends in SADC, SADC, we were founding members of SADC, but these past 5 years, our president has not paid even a lip service to our regional neighbors, to our neighbors around our borders, to regional neighbors like SADC. He's not paid any. He's been to the AU summit only once, you know. He hasn't paid, he hasn't traveled abroad to the US. We will need, and Samia Hassan will need a lot of work to do in order to repair the damage done by President Magufuli, internally as well as in our relations with other nations.
Mr. Lissu, you're speaking to us from Belgium, where you are in exile. What is your political future in this period of Tanzania's history going forward? You have been an opposition politician from NCCR Mageuzi and then Chadema. What role are you seeing yourself playing in this new Tanzania as your nation mourns?
That is a very good question. I will continue doing what I've always done throughout my adult life, and that is to continue fighting for a better Tanzania, to continue fighting for democratic, a more democratic Tanzania, a country that respects human rights, that respects rule of law, that respects justice. The call, my clarion call during last year's general elections was freedom, justice and people-centered development. I will continue doing that. And now that Magufuli has passed, I will personally write a letter to the government, a public letter actually, in which me and my colleagues will set out our position going forward. And our position is we cannot afford to continue with Magufulism without Magufuli, meaning the country must change. We must go back to the constitution-making process that was sabotaged by CCM in 2014. We must extend a hand to all those who were persecuted and have had to leave the country, like myself and others. We have to free political prisoners. We have to stop these human rights abuses that had become the hallmark of the Magufuli regime. We have to free our media. We have to free our political parties. That is the position that I'll fight for. That is the position under which we will deal with the new president once she's sworn in and she takes over formally.
All right.
So for me personally, the struggle continues.
Before I want to talk about Magufulism, but before we do that, what you call Magufulism, a lot of these reactions and speculation has been happening on social media platforms. The speculation over the whereabouts of Magufuli before that confirmation yesterday by the vice president. And there are a lot of people who have been saying that you are almost celebrating what has happened. What is your reaction to that, if you may?
I'm not celebrating, neither am I mourning. What I'm saying is, after all the bloodletting of the past 5 years, our country needs a break. And with President Magufuli's passage, we have this rare passage. The situation in Tanzania today is akin to what happened in Spain in 1975 when dictator Francisco Franco died. It is akin to Portugal in 1974 when Marcelo Caetano was overthrown by the military. It is akin to Soviet Russia in 1953 when Joseph Stalin died. The opportunity that Magufuli's passage gives the country is akin to those three countries. We have an opportunity to step back from the brink. We have an opportunity to chart a new future, a more democratic future for Tanzania. So it is not a question of celebrating. It is a question of looking ahead, and looking ahead without forgetting the lessons of our immediate past. And so I was the first one to raise the question about President Magufuli's whereabouts and his well-being 10 days ago. Had it not been for me, perhaps would have been told that the president has died suddenly and no one would have been any wiser. But there are people inside Tanzania and inside Kenya, actually. I have my contacts in Kenya, and they were giving me information about what is going on. So the issue now is we have to move forward, and we have to open a new chapter. But a new chapter cannot be a mere change of faces at the top. It must be a fundamental change of the political and constitutional system for Tanzania. You Kenyans know this very well. I know history, the Kenyan history quite a bit. The long road to where you are today, you went through the dark years of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. You went through the dark years of President Moi and Nyayo House and all of that. We have gone through the same way with Magufuli these past 5 years. And now that he is gone, it is time to chart a new course.
Thank you, Mr. Lissu. Stay with us. I want us to talk about what you call charting a new course and what a new Tanzania would envision, and that constitution-making process that nobody knows what happened to it since 2014. And also the COVID issue, and of course, the late President John Pombe Magufuli has been a very well-known doubter of COVID. Let's listen into some of his remarks.